This webinar is being live streamed. The host has started broadcasting the web.
Just 1 second, everybody. I'm getting my notes together here, looking for some social media shout outs. Thank you again for everyone who hung out with us on the hashtag on all of our social media channels. Also, if you like audio content, if you like listening to our team talk about different topics, not just convention, but all sorts of really interesting topics, we do have a podcast. It's called the Nation's Blind Podcast, and you can find that on your favorite podcatcher, and you can also listen to it on your Amazon device. And I won't say her name so she doesn't activate in your houses. So Sharon, who do you have with you tonight?
Oh, I have Al Manicki.
Hi, Al.
Hello. Linda Furiati.
Hello.
And
Hi.
Elena Crew.
Hello.
Elena Cruz.
I know you.
All right, I am in line for the portrait studio.
Success.
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna take a picture.
Okay,
Is it busy out there, Chris?
it's very busy. I had a lot of trouble finding the end of the line, but I finally appear to be here.
That's awesome. What pose are you gonna strike? Are you gonna go for serious, or are you gonna like open your jacket a little to show that red piece in the inside?
Maybe I'm going to keep the jacket open, but I'm going to try to look a little bit scholarly, you know, because I have a great beard. And, yes.
Love it, Chris. And it looks like folks are starting to be let in. So it's about 6:45 now, so just under 10 minutes to go in the pre-show. It's our last
meeting.
We lost Chris. That's okay. So it's our last pre-show of the whole convention. It's amazing how quickly it went by. When we were producing the pre-shows and kind of getting them ready, we were like, there's 9 of them, it's so many, and here we are at the very last one. So time flies when you're having fun, I guess. All right. Thank you to everyone who's joining. I see that we're slowly getting more people into the Zoom. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to mute for just 1 second. Also want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who's worked behind the scenes to make these pre-shows and the Zoom events possible. So thanks to Suzanne Schaefer, Bridget Burke, our interpreters, our captioners, everyone who's put in time and effort and talent into making these shows successful. And also want to take a minute to ask if you're listening to the pre-show and if you would like to maybe send in some ideas on what we could do for the virtual sessions next year. I know this year we did the interview with Dan O'Rourke. Last year we did a Dan Parker interview. So, if there's any topics or any folks that you think we should connect with so that we can bring them to you for the pre-shows next year, certainly send that information in. You can send that to, there's a lot of places you'd be able to send it to. Communications team at nfb.org is probably going to be your best bet to send that information, and that way you can even start using next year's hashtag of NFB24, and that way you can let people know, hey, this is what I'm interested in, or this is what I'd like to hear, so that we can bring you the content that you'd like to hear.
Hello.
Hi, who's there?
Oh, it's Linda. I'm sorry, I was testing my speaker.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Who's this?
Glad to hear you, Linda. It's Danielle McCann.
Oh, hi, Danielle. I'm sorry. I thought I was muted on my end and I was just doing an internal test on my speaker.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna be, I guess, a surprise speaker or something later on at about 10:15.
Okay, well, it looks like the pre-show listeners may have heard the surprise, but they'll act
Oh.
surprised for sure. They will act
Okay.
surprised, I'm sure of it.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So
Wow,
we're gonna
Linda.
take a walk. It's all good. We're gonna take a walk over. They're starting to let folks in to be seated at their tables. So we're gonna take a little field trip over to say hey to some of our folks. And look, everyone, it's Stephanie Casco.
Hey everyone, happy
Hey.
banquet day. Woo! Just about getting ready to open the doors to start seating people. So we're really excited. There's some initial folks who are coming in, but all the tables are set. We have 136 tables, tables of 10. So
That's a lot of food.
it's a lot of food, a lot of excitement. And yeah, we're about to fill this whole banquet hall. So
And we've got Sharon Necki on. I know Linda. Linda's on too. So lots of people already
great.
ready for this
Yay.
for the banquet to start.
That's right. We're just about to get started.
So Stephanie, do you have any predictions on what dinner is going to be?
Ooh, I do not. I'm gonna say pollo.
Pollo. Okay, pollo. One vote for pollo. Chris was hoping for brisket.
Oh, brisket. That would be good.
Brisket
The
would be
was
super
The
good.
other day, the sandwich.
Can
She's on the- Oh, Danielle, I gotta
Yep.
go.
All right,
Bye,
thank
everyone.
you.
Have a great banquet.
Woo! So if you also want to send in your thoughts on what we're having for banquet on social media, hashtag NFB23 is our hashtag. We're about 5 minutes away from logging off of our last pre-show of the convention. And we're still walking, looking for people to say hey to. I might steal one of these salad plates, just take a few bites. All right. All right, so it looks like we're getting, actually, I need to move my things off of the table that I'm using for the pre-show because they're getting ready to set up. So very, very close to joining in to the banquet. Thank y'all for sticking with me. I'm sorry if you're tired of hearing me ramble. Looks like Beth Braun has just entered the room, so President Riccobono is probably on his way. Kind of feels like, oh, hello.
Yeah, Danielle, it's Bridget. So I'm just
Hey.
kind of curious, how are we going to know what you're having for dinner?
Oh, you know what? We can be sure to post it on our social media. We'll get pictures and we'll post it. That's a great thought. Thank you, Bridget.
Yeah, well, I was sitting here trying to figure out, how am I going to know if you're having brisket or chicken?
Yeah, that's a perfect thought. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we can post it on our social media and we'll post all of the award winners. And, you know, we always do a good recap at the end of the banquet of social media. But yeah, definitely posting. Bridget, are you having anything special for dinner tonight?
You know, I had Culver's for dinner. I had
Ooh.
Culver's is a hamburger place for those who don't know, here in the Midwest. So that's what I had for dinner tonight.
Did you get cheese curds?
I did not. You know, I really don't like their
Ooh.
cheese curds. The breading, I don't like the breading on that, but I like DQ's cheese curds. Those are good.
Yeah, DQ has some solid cheese curds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely miss Culver's. When we lived in Wisconsin, we did Culver's at least once a week.
Well, it's from Wisconsin, so yeah, I would imagine you have them everywhere.
Everywhere. Yes. Yes. This week, some of the stuff we tried here in Houston, we had brisket, of course, brisket. But we also had Whataburger and yeah, it was really good. Saltgrass Steakhouse is a local. It's kind of like Outback, but it's Texas themed.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
It was good. It was real good. And then we walked it off taking the stairs. We had a pretty pretty loud thunderstorm earlier this afternoon. I was honestly worried that we would lose power because those thunders were pretty loud. How's the weather there in Illinois?
Well, right now it's overcast. Hopefully we're not going to have any major thunderstorms here. I don't want to end up in the basement with a tornado warning or losing hosting ability. So let's hope it stays just overcast and calm.
Yes, sending you. Yeah, the Midwest is always this time of year is always so like, okay, do we go downstairs? Do we not?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then when we were kids, we were convinced that our basement was haunted. So we never wanted to go to the basement. So for sure there is salad. I can tell you that there is a salad. There's salads being put out on the tables and there's also dressing being put out. So for sure I can confirm we will be having a salad.
Desserts should be coming right after that onto the tables.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yes,
Always,
it's always preset.
always makes it easy. Oh, we're opening the doors. It's very, very close to go time. John Berggren is walking down to each set of doors. So there's doors A through I here in the banquet area. And he was just walking to all of the entrances, telling folks they can let people in. So we're going to get started here in about a minute. So Bridget, thank you so much for everything you're doing. And thank you so much to all of our listeners and friends for being here tonight. And hope everyone has a wonderful banquet.
You too, Danielle. You've done a great job all week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be here all night. So if you need anything, I'm here.
Okay.
to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Ba-ba-da-ba-da, 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 ba-ba-da-ba-da. Trust fund, it's a trust fund, baby. Picture a place where it all doesn't hurt, where everything's safe and it doesn't get worse. Oh my, we see through bloodshot eyes. Picture a place somewhere else far away, where you know what they mean and they mean what they say to us. And would that be enough? Are we running out of time? Are we hiding from the light? Are we just too scared to fight for what we want tonight. Close your eyes and leave it all behind. Go where love is on our side. It's a trust fall, baby. It's a trust fall, baby. You and I and everyone alive, we can run into the fire. It's a trust fall, baby. Yeah, it's a trust fall, baby. Jump with me, come with me, burn like the sun. We'll talk, then we'll cry, then we'll laugh till we're done. Oh my, it's like we're out our minds. We've been running for our lives. We've been hiding from the light. We've been far too scared to fight for what we want tonight. Close your eyes and leave it all behind. Go where love is on our side. It's a trust fall, baby. It's a trust fall, baby. You and I and everyone alive, we can run into the fire. It's a trust fall, baby. Yeah, it's a trust fall, baby. What if we just fall? I'm not going without you, and you're not going alone. I fell so far till I found you, but you know what you know when you know. So I'm not going without you, and you're not going alone. 'Cause you know when you know. Close your eyes and leave it all behind. Go where love is on our side. It's a trust fall, baby. It's a trust fall, baby. What if we just fall? 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 What if we just
Good evening. The 2023 Banquet of the National Federation of the Blind is in order. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our banquet. We are so excited to get started. And if I could have your attention, please. If I could have your attention, please. It is now my pleasure to introduce for our invocation Louis Marr, who serves as the Secretary of the National Federation of the Blind of Texas and the Treasurer of our Houston chapter.
Let us take a moment to quiet ourselves and to be present at this event. Let us draw strength from our beliefs to share our love as we discover methods to improve the general, to improve unity, equality, and general condition of the blind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louis. And anybody out there would like a door prize? Okay, now, before I draw for this door prize, I want to take a moment to thank Bennett Prowse and Kenya Flores and Elizabeth Prowse and all of our runners who have helped this week with our door prizes. I also want to send out a thank you to all of our affiliates and chapters and divisions and all our supporters who donated door prizes. Thank you all so much. So our first door prize, we're gonna do an in-person, and then we also have some virtual door prizes. So we got a lot of big money tonight, so I hope everybody is ready. Our first door prize for $150. Let's see, if this individual is in the room, is the president of our Delaware affiliate, Sylvia Reed. Sylvia Reed is here. All right, also, if you win a door prize, please stand and remain standing and yelling and waving and making a real ruckus, basically. And do not sit down until you have your cash money in hand, please. Thank you. Sylvia, do we have her? Sylvia Reed, are you here? All right, we got her. Okay. Now, I would like to also, we are really excited to have this evening a few virtual banquet drop-ins that I know all of us will be very excited to welcome. And before we do our drop-ins, we're about to get started, but I want to also call some virtual door prizes. Let's have a big cheer for everybody who is listening virtually. I know we're having some delicious food here. I hope everybody is enjoying their banquet feast virtually. Our first virtual door prize winner for $25. The code word is Rosen in honor of our 2024 convention in Orlando. Our virtual winners are Aaron Ross from Oregon, Brooklyn Jenkins from Alabama, and Carrie Wadding of Iowa. So please, the code word is Rosen, and email prize@nfb.org to claim your prize. Now, are we ready? Our first virtual drop-in, if I could have everybody's attention, please. We are going to join Becky Young from Iowa. Anybody from Iowa? All right, Becky, we're really excited.
Hello, everyone. Hi, fellow Federationists and President Riccobono. We're very excited to be here tonight. We have 8 of us here, myself and my husband, Jeff Young, Don Shepard, Bob Ray, Leroy and Mary McGee, and Jim and April Enderton. And for food, we're having little smokies and barbecued meatballs, pulled pork sandwiches, potato salad, pasta salad, baked beans, and fruit tray, and lots of yummy desserts. And they can eat till it's gone or till they can't eat anymore. And I'm really excited that we got dropped in on. I want to say hello to Iowa and hello to our Des Moines chapter. And I am the president of our Des Moines chapter, newly elected in January of 2023. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky. Congratulations and enjoy that dinner. We're so glad to be sharing Banquet with you. Thanks for letting us drop in. Okay, our next drop in. Anyone from New Jersey here tonight?
Greetings from Jersey.
Hello, it is our Princess Warrior, President
That's right.
of the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey, Linda Melendez.
Greetings. Thank you so much.
Hi,
Greetings
Linda.
from Jersey to you, President Riccobono, and everyone there, but especially my Jersey crew.
For you.
And we also have my grandson here.
Hi, Lucas.
Our youngest member of the Jersey affiliate. He's also adorable. I just wanted to say what a great convention everyone has put together. Thank you to President Riccobono and the team. I also want to say that if anything positive came out of COVID, it was having a virtual component to our conventions, because we feel all included and a part of, and it's really great to be part of the convention. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for that. Great job, everyone. Really enjoying it.
Oh, thank you so much, Linda. We're sending our love to you and our thoughts for healing. We are so glad to thank you for letting us drop in on you and hope you have a wonderful banquet party.
Pam, if I could just give some news.
Can't wait for you to be with us next year.
Yes, I can announce that I had my last treatment last week and I am cancer-free.
Awesome. We are so, all right, let's hear it from New Jersey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. See you next year.
Yeah. Can I have your attention, please? We have a very special banquet drop-in for our next. You heard earlier that she was presented with a Dr. Jacob Balatin Award earlier today. Anyone from Maryland here?
Hey,
So now we have a special banquet drop-in for Sharon Manecki. Hey, Sharon.
hi. So with me is Al Manecki and Linda Furiati and Elena Crew. And we're having a small party, but we're mighty and we'll make it bigger next time. I want to thank everybody for the award and especially the Maryland affiliate. And it's so great to be with you and be part of the celebration tonight.
All right, Sharon, and we are so happy to be with you. We're sending our love to Maryland, thinking of you and enjoy. Thank you so much for dropping in.
Thank you.
Okay, how about another door prize? We have $150 for, if they're here, Patrick Moorhead from Nevada. Patrick Moorhead from Nevada. I think I hear a yes. All right, do we have Patrick? All right. Okay, 150. Sounds like we have Patrick. Congratulations, Patrick. Okay, if I could have your attention, please. We have a very important video that we want to show. We are so grateful. Our scholarship program, our national scholarship program for many years has been instrumental in developing leadership in the National Federation of the Blind, and it would not be possible without the supporters. So we want to show this thank you video to express our true gratitude for helping make this program possible.
The National Federation of the Blind Scholarship Program is the largest of its kind for blind students in the United States. This year, we will award more than $250,000 in cash and prizes. Each of our winners will receive a total monetary award of $8,000.
We would like to recognize the generous partners who contribute to our $38,000 scholarships and those who add cash and prizes to help make this such a dynamic program.
The Kurzweil Foundation and Ray Kurzweil contributes to each recipient's award and provide each finalist with a commemorative plaque in both print and braille. Ray Kurzweil is a longtime friend of the Federation and deserves our special recognition.
Google provides substantial support to our scholarship program. We are so grateful to Google for their long-term commitment to our scholarship program.
The Jesse and Hertha Adams Trust supports many of our scholarships, as well as substantially contributing to bring each of our finalists to National Convention, so that our students can benefit from exposure to the National Federation of the Blind and the amazing networking opportunities our convention affords.
Many of our scholarships proudly carry the name National Federation of the Blind. Our members acknowledge academic excellence and leadership in making these awards.
Some scholarships are supported by the Lillian S. Edelstein Trust. The students receiving these scholarships hail from or will be attending college in Washington, Idaho, or Oregon.
The Charles and Betty Allen Scholarship
funded by Charles and Betty before their passing, is a reflection of their commitment to education. Charlie, who was extremely successful, left school at an early age to care for his family, but retained a strong belief in higher education.
Both of the EU and Jean Parker scholarships honor two longtime leaders of the National Federation of the Blind, whose participation stood for strong principles and strong support of the Federation's work.
This year, 3 scholarship winners will receive Charles and Melba T. Owen Memorial Scholarships, first established by Charles Owen in loving memory of his blind wife. These 3 awards are now endowed to honor the memory of both. In founding these scholarships, Charles Owen wrote, "There shall be no limitation as to field of study, except that it shall be directed towards attaining financial independence."
The Jeanette C. Irely Scholarship is given in memory of Miss Irely, the author of 20 books and numerous short stories, including positive portrayals of blind characters. Miss Irely was a steadfast supporter of the National Federation of the Blind. She worked for the Iowa Commission for the Blind, while we worked to develop the first truly effective training center in the United States.
The Adrian Ash Memorial Scholarship is given in loving memory of Dr. Adrian Ash, a consummate scholar and a longtime member of our scholarship committee. Anonymous contributors, you know who you are, and we thank you very much.
The JAWS for Windows Scholarship is funded by the developers of the JAWS screen reader Vispero. JAWS, Job Access with Speech, has been committed to expanding the opportunities of education and employment for the blind with both speech and braille since the late 1980s. In establishing this award, Vispero said, "On behalf of all the individuals responsible for the development and support of this product over the years, we are honored to establish this scholarship for students recognized by the Federation. Vispero will award each winner with a 5-year home software license for their choice of either JAWS screen reading software or Zoom text magnifier with speech."
The Pearson Award is funded by Pearson Education and is given to a student who plans a career in education. For Pearson, learning is a never-ending road of discovery.
The Mimi and Marvin Sandler Award is funded by longtime friends of the Federation, Mr. and Mrs. Sandler. Marvin Sandler served as president of Independent Living Aids for more than 30 years. He and his wife wish to further academic excellence by sponsoring this award.
The Jacqueline Billy Memorial Scholarship, awarded in memory of Jacqueline Billy, honors her leadership, dedication, and commitment to the National Federation of the Blind throughout her lifetime. Jacqueline was a tireless advocate for the blind and a loving friend.
The NFB STEM Scholarship is jointly supported by the Science and Engineering and Computer Science divisions and is awarded to a student studying in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or a related field. Members of these divisions wish to encourage the success of blind STEM students in their chosen field of study.
2 scholarships funded by the Edith R. and Alvin J. Domro Foundation will be awarded. The foundation supports college scholarships and has funded their scholarships to encourage academic excellence.
We are pleased to award 2 scholarships funded by Oracle. The Oracle Scholarship for Excellence in Computer Science. Oracle seeks to hire the best and brightest talent to build their products. They recognize the significant impact that their products and technologies can have on people with disabilities. This scholarship is for a student in the field of computer science, computer engineering, user experience, or related field. The Oracle Scholarship for Excellence in the STEM field. This scholarship awards academic excellence and leadership in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Oracle wishes to promote excellence and funds this scholarship based on Oracle's understanding of its impact on disabled employees and customers throughout the globe.
The Scott C. LeBar Memorial Scholarship remembers a tireless advocate and beloved mentor of hundreds in our movement. Most famous for negotiation of the Marrakesh Treaty, allowing cross-border sharing of accessible materials, attorney Scott C. LeBar for decades built and represented the National Federation of the Blind locally, nationally, and internationally.
The American Action Fund for Blind Children and Adults will sponsor 2 awards. First is the American Action Fund Scholarship. For more than 100 years, the American Action Fund for Blind Children and Adults has strived to improve the lives of blind and deafblind children and adults. Best known for annually producing and gifting Braille calendars, sponsoring the Free Books for Blind Children program, and administering the Braille Readers Are Leaders contest, the American Action Fund leads in promoting Braille literacy. The American Action Fund is proud to award this scholarship to a deserving and talented blind person.
Finally, we have our most prestigious scholarship, the Kenneth Jernigan Memorial Scholarship. This scholarship is given yearly by the American Action Fund for Blind Children and Adults, a nonprofit organization that works to enhance the lives of blind people. Dr. Kenneth Jernigan, himself blind, worked tirelessly to raise the expectations of blind people through his innovative leadership, both in the organized blind movement and in the field of services for the blind. His creative approach to life shines through in his many writings and in the programs he administered. His legacy lives on in the generations who look to the understandings he freely offered to inform current programs and practices. The Action Fund dedicates this scholarship to his memory and to the continuation of the timeless work he began.
Each of our 30 scholarships rewards academic excellence and promotes leadership in the blindness community. They are all made possible by the generous contributions of many individuals and partners. Our winners are living the lives they want, and we sincerely thank all of you. You help make dreams come true.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to all of our supporters who make our scholarship program possible. Can we have a round of applause for all of our generous supporters? Now, if I could please have your attention, I know that everybody is enjoying a delicious dinner, so please enjoy. But I want to take a moment now to introduce for his remarks and a presentation for our Give 20 campaign, the chairperson of our White Cane Committee and secretary of the National Federation of the Blind, Everett Bacon.
I got it. Okay. All right. How's everybody doing? Woohoo! All right. Are you guys ready to win some money? All right. Good. Well, we just did the drawing. We're pretty excited about it. Now, I want to give you some totals first. First and foremost, I want my boss, Troy Attilio, to stand up. Troy, please stand up, because we overdid the match, Troy. We raised $37,601 with 600 contributors. So pretty exciting. Thank you so much to IRA. I'm so glad to work for them. It's an awesome company. And, you know, if you're not an IRA Explorer, you should be. Okay, enough of the advertisement. Okay, now let's get to the drawing, right? So I want to tell you that we did a random number generated drawing right before the banquet. And I'm really excited to announce the name of our Give 20 drawing, a trip for two to Orlando. All expenses paid. They get their airfare and hotel and $1,000 walking around money. The name is Sharon Apple Safranco. Can you believe it? Congratulations, Sharon. And Tracy promises me he was not in the room when the drawing happened. In fact, we have it on video if anyone ever wants to come and see it. So, all right, well, congratulations. Thank you all for giving 20. We are so proud of the support of the National Federation of the Blind. Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Sharon, and thank you so much to everyone who supported our Give 20 campaign. Can we hear it from all of our Jernigan Fund winners? If you're a Jernigan Fund winner, please cheer out. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. Thank you. That's one of the many ways that our Give 20 campaign pays off. So thank you very much. Now, if anyone has drawings, if you could please make your way to the stage. We're going to be having some drawings, so everybody get your tickets out. You want to, and we're going to be, after our drawings, we got an update from PAC, some more drawings. So, Harry? Is Harry Sailor here? Ryan's here. Well, our drawings, we have a couple drawings. I know we have a NABS drawing and some other drawings. So if you are going to draw, please come to the stage, come on stage. I am now going to present for a PAC report, an update for his remarks. And I know everybody's pretty excited about the results of these drawings, so I will turn it over to our distinguished PAC chair, Ryan Strunk.
Good evening, my PAC. Hey, what's going on, my PAC? You out there? I'm going to be giving away some serious cash tonight, so if you got somebody at your table who's chattering because they didn't donate to the PAC plan, but you did, poke them with your spoon, because you're going to want to be in on this. So here we go. I want to give you some names, I want to give you some numbers, and I also want to make sure to thank a lot of the people who made this possible. But because no one ever listens to the credits, I'm going to go back and forth. So here's some money. Reminder, Jason Ian from Arizona, EIEN. We still need you to come and pick up your name looks real cool in Braille, by the way. We still need you to come to the stage and pick up your gift card. So if you win tonight, you should come to the front of the room toward the right end of the stage as you face it. And I will be over there to give you your critter and / or your gift card. So Jason Ian, also Raul Gallegos from Texas, you are $25 richer. I want to thank our tech team. They have been tremendous making sure everything gets processed and updated. Ross Kirchner, Sophie Connell, Ali Abbasi, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for that. You know who else won some money? Heather Field of Tennessee. Also, John Black Welder of North Carolina. I want to show much love to our accounting team. Bridget Burke, Danielle Harton, Elise Bryant, you guys have been wonderful. Also, I want to make sure that we give some money as well to Jose Marquez from Texas. You also won $25. I want to thank Mia Sandoval. She supplied the table with coffee and water every day, but also Sean Sandoval, who is back there taking names and donations and making sure all of our information was entered. So thank you to them as well. Now, you guys are finishing your salad course. I'm up here going to give away some serious lettuce, which is way better than iceberg, which is flavorless and terrible. Don't forget that. I'm going to give away two $250 gift cards. One for the people drawn among all the people who started new pledges, and another from all the people who increased. So the first new pledge winner is Paige Carlisle from Georgia. And it turns out that it's great to be from Georgia because the winner of our increase is Heather Ludy from Georgia. So remember, come up to the front and we will make sure that you get your gift cards. Let's talk about these races real quick. The Pachyderm, you heard this earlier, and it shook out the way you heard it. The winner of the Pachyderm, actually, I've got him right here, is a, hang on, there we go. It's this beautiful mammoth, got the tusks and everything. The winner of that is the state of Maine with a 143% increase. And then we move to the Pack Mule. And I tell you what, the seniors absolutely ran away with it. 26 contributions. They get to take home the Pack Mule. Hey, look at this little guy. Yeah. All right. Finally, I want to tell you that we also have the pack rat to give away. The pack rat is this one's a fuzzy one. It's very nice and soft. It's got the long, skinny tail. For some reason, they named it Ryan. I don't know why. And that was a tight race. But ultimately, Colorado took it with 22 contributions. So the rat is coming home to Colorado. Before I give you the last two donations, I want to extend my sincerest and utmost thanks to Lisa Bonderson. Any of you who have worked with Lisa knows that she is a true consummate professional, and I would not have been able to do anything without her this week. I also want to make sure that as you hear these last two numbers, you all give yourselves a great big hand. Great big hand for all the contributions. Give it up, my pack. Here we go. This week, we raised annually $12,762, which brings us to an annualized total of $471,496. My pack, thank you for everything you have done this week, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Let's give it up, pack. Oh, I have been requested. All right, I'm being nudged and collared at the podium. So, if you know Journeys Don't Stop Believin', you can do that one. But otherwise, get on the pack plan, sign up today. We need your contributions right away. Funding our movement, it must be done, so all our battles can be won. Thank you.
All right, let's have a round of applause for Ryan, our great pack team, everyone who helped volunteer and contribute those wonderful prizes. And I would like now to introduce for our NABS and Science and Engineering drawing. We're all about collaboration in the National Federation of the Blind. And so here is Hunter Keister.
Good evening, my Federation family. So, the Science and Engineering Division and the National Association of Blind Students proudly collaborated on a raffle for two Orbit TI-84 accessible graphing calculators. And we have those winners here, but a special shout out and gracious thank you to Don Vininsky for donating these. I am going to actually pass it over to our newly elected NABS president, Lauren Altman, to name our winners.
And the winners are we have Sarah Erb from Salt Lake City, Utah. And we have Shane Ostermeyer from Meridian, Idaho. So congratulations to the two of you, and we will be reaching out shortly to give you your prizes. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thank you and congratulations. Thank you so much for everyone who participated in our drawings. We appreciate that. Also, if I could please have your attention. Thank you. Now we also, anybody ready for a door prize? Okay, so this prize is for $150. And if this person is here, the lucky winner is from the state where our 2024 convention is going to be held. Anyone from Florida here? All right, so Gary Dukeman. Is Gary Dukeman here? All right, Gary, stay standing, please, until we find you, and the prize is in your hand. Now, I want to take a moment here. We have been thanking our supporters, and I want to take a moment to recognize the National Federation of the Blind of Missouri. So anyone here from the National Federation of the Blind of Missouri? We want to take a moment to acknowledge you for your $50,000 pledge to support our museum. We're so excited that you are also in our honorable call of states for supporting the museum. So thank you to Missouri and to all our affiliates who have supported and individual supporters. And I want to just make an announcement to our virtual guests who are joining us. And we hope you're enjoying your banquet parties. For our virtual attendees, we are pleased to offer a $50 door prize. Our code word is Orlando. So again, $50, please, the following individuals. We have Michelle Folk, or Fauché, as we might say in Louisiana, from Maryland, Scott Jones from Arkansas, and Armando Vias from Georgia. Our code word is Orlando, so if you are listening virtually, please email prize@nfb.org with that code word. Thank you. are beyond ready. Okay, everyone. Anyone ready for a door prize? We have $200. $200. That'd be a great way to celebrate. So, if this individual is here, wow, this is a lucky evening for state presidents. If this individual is here, I'm sure they are. Nina Chadwick, president of the NFB of Arkansas. I know we got a lot of first timers from Arkansas here. So we're very excited to welcome you. Congratulations, Nina, $200. Stay standing. We hear you, Nina. We are coming. If I could have your attention, please, everyone, if I could please have your attention. If I could have your attention, please. If I could please have your attention, everyone. I know that tonight at our banquet, we are all so excited to be together celebrating this incredible convention. Let's hear it for our host affiliate, the NFB of Texas. It might be noted that the last time that we were in Houston in 1971, which was before many people in this room I know were born, it was the first time that we had a convention of over 1,000 people. So think of how far we have come. And I don't know if anyone can guess, but in 1988 in Chicago was the first time that we broke 2,000 for our convention. And I'm proud to say in 1997 in the great city of New Orleans, our record-setting convention, the first time that we were over 3,000. So we'll see what happens next year in Orlando. We'll see. I don't know if they can beat us, but we'll see. So I wanted to, if I could have your attention, please, before I introduce the head table, I want to just do a survey of our banquet. So if anyone is in the room who joined the National Federation of the Blind in the 1940s, let's hear a cheer. Okay. Anyone who joined in the 1950s, let's hear a cheer. All right, we got it. How about the 1960s? Let's hear a cheer. All right, we hear the Mowers are cheering. All right, how about the 1970s? Was anyone here at that 1971 convention in Houston? I know Glenn Crosby's up here cheering. All right, how about if you joined the National Federation of the Blind in the 1980s? Let's hear it. Okay, we're building. How about the 1990s? Yes. All right, now let's see. How about if you joined the National Federation of the Blind in the first decade of 2000s? All right. And how about from 2011 to the present? How about if you joined in the last 10 years? Whoa. I like it. I like it. All right. Let's hear from all of our first-time attendees at this year's convention. Excellent. Wow, excellent. So as we can see, our momentum is building. Welcome to our first-timers. I know this is your first banquet, so we have an extra special welcome. So it is now my pleasure. I know everyone enjoyed their delicious dinner. Let's have a round of applause for the great staff here at the Hilton Americas. I know how hard they've been working all week to make us feel welcome, so we truly appreciate the hospitality and the delicious food. So if I could have your attention, I want to now introduce our head table. And I'm going to start as at my far left to the right as you're facing the stage. I know this individual was at the Houston Convention in 1971. He has served as the president of the NFB of Texas in the past, currently serves as the president of our senior division and a leader and mentor to so many of us, Mr. Glenn Crosby. And sitting next to Glenn, the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Texas and the treasurer of the National Federation of the Blind, Norma Crosby. Sitting next to Norma is our former First Lady of the National Federation of the Blind of Indiana, an entrepreneur extraordinaire, Miss Jean Brown. And sitting next to Jean is the past president of the National Federation of the Blind of Indiana and second vice president of the National Federation of the Blind, World Series beatball champion multi-times, as he likes to share, Ron Brown. Sitting next to Ron is the First Lady of the National Federation of the Blind, Melissa Riccobono. And then I'm going to skip over this next individual. We'll be back for that. To the right of the podium, next to where I would be sitting, is my devoted, wonderful, extraordinary husband, a leader in his own right, cane travel instructor at the Louisiana Center for the Blind, Roland Allen. And sitting next to Roland is our past First Lady of the National Federation of the Blind, someone that has served and given so much to all of us and continues to give in so many ways, Mrs. Patricia Maurer. Sitting next to Mrs. Maurer is our past president of the National Federation of the Blind, who has given and continues to give through his love and through his example to all of us, Dr. Mark Maurer. And next to Dr. Maurer, we are so delighted to have with us here at our banquet, as is always tradition, our mentor, our friend, our colleague in the movement, someone who is truly blind at heart, Mary Ellen Jernigan. Sitting next to Mrs. Jernigan is the Secretary of the National Federation of the Blind and the President of the National Federation of the Blind of Utah, Everett Bacon. And sitting next to Everett, distinguished neurosurgeon and First Lady of the National Federation of the Blind of Utah, Dr. Angela Peters. Now let's have a round of applause for our head table. And if I could have your attention, please. As we have gathered this week, as we celebrate our 2023 convention in the great city of Houston, we have heard about the accomplishments of the National Federation of the Blind, about how our members are working together to transform our dreams into reality. The work that we do that is life-changing and life-giving, that truly increases hope and opportunity for all blind people, would not be possible without the fearless, loving leadership of our president. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce, for the highlight of our convention, President Mark Riccobono.
Good evening, fellow Federationists. It's a lot of space between my chair and the podium, so I had to move the water over. Such a pleasure to be here this evening, right? What an honor. And I just want you to know, according to Be My Eyes, you look fabulous. As we gather here tonight, I would like us to reflect on the center of our movement. In military strategy, the center is fundamental to the well-being of the unit. If you fail to protect the center of the formation, the left and right sides can be divided. The center cannot hold is a famous line from a W.B. Yeats poem that describes post-World War I Europe in apocalyptic terms. What is centered matters. In psychology, to center yourself means that you come back to a place where you find balance. You organize life's challenges and your responses to them, putting everything in its proper place. So what lies at the center of work that affects the blind? You and I might say blind people, but as we'll soon discuss this evening, not everybody would agree. The ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius is credited as saying, "The beginning of wisdom is to call things by their proper name." Tonight, we consider how each of us contributes to centering blind people through the collective power of a movement. We also consider how a persistent complexity collides with our community of blind people, obscuring our focus. Tonight, we seek to name that barrier, and in doing so, to continue to fuel the progress centered on the blind of our nation. We, the blind, gather with our allies to center our lived experience and celebrate our progress. We come in our thousands to affirm our commitment to direct our own future, to speak and act for ourselves, to build the community that has made the most significant difference in elevating the blind throughout society. A community founded by the blind, led by blind leaders elected by the blind, and sustained by the authentic ingenuity of blind people. A unified force built on hope, fueled by love, sustained through determination, and motivated by the truth that blindness is not the characteristic that defines us or our future. With the strength of one collective heartbeat, tonight we invite all of humanity to join our blind-centered people's movement. We are the National Federation of the Blind. Let us first center on a shared understanding of what we mean when we say blind people. In the National Federation of the Blind, we have come to understand blindness from a functional perspective. While there is a legal definition of blind that is used as an eligibility metric for governmental services, we understand that there are practical limitations to that definition. We also know that socially constructed norms have been established over centuries by non-blind people who do not truly know the experience of being blind. As a result, our community has adopted a functional approach in which we considered individuals blind when they must function in the world with techniques and tools that allow them to efficiently do those things without vision that they might otherwise typically use eyesight to do. From our experience, people who do not yet personally identify as a blind person, but who can or will benefit from those functional skills in the future are part of the class of people we refer to as blind. Oftentimes, someone whose eyesight is changing is reluctant to identify as a blind person. But we know this to be a symptom of the socially constructed misunderstandings about blindness. The community of people who are blind is broad and very deep. We face a common set of barriers within society and benefit from combining the wisdom of our individual lived experiences. At this banquet last year, we discussed in detail the characteristics of our movement, our vehicle for collective action. We said that, in general, a movement is defined as a group of people who share the same beliefs, ideas, or aims. As the people that make up our movement have shared with each other the wisdom of lived experience, our movement has grown and gathered momentum. The experience in the movement has shaped the people, but the growth in the people also shapes the movement. This is how the diversity of blind people in the movement makes us stronger. One of the defining characteristics of our dynamic people's movement is ingenuity. Consider that many of the principles now so closely associated with the National Federation of the Blind are centered on innovation and locus of control. This might be most evident through structured discovery teaching, but more broadly, in the progress made by taking responsibility for our own lives and rejecting the obstacles created by the vision-centered approach. Furthermore, ingenuity accurately describes our continuous effort to grow, innovate, and reflect the blind people of our time and circumstances. An ingenuity born from lived experience. Our first principle is we believe in blind people. It is the expression of that shared lived experience that is in sharp contrast to the constructed misunderstanding of blind people throughout society. If the driving force that elevates us in society has been the blind people's movement, the National Federation of the Blind, from where does the resistance to our movement come? And what might we name it? It comes from a deeply rooted series of misconceptions mythologized over centuries, flawed charitable intentions driven by those misconceptions, and institutions built upon those intentions and misconceptions. Tonight, we name it the Vision Industrial Complex. The term industrial complex was first popularized by its use in President Dwight Eisenhower's 1961 farewell speech. In general, the industrial complex is a socio-economic concept involving the complicated tangling of businesses, government, and social systems that creates an economy of its own. Entities within an industrial complex may have been created to address a social or political goal, but mostly profit when the goal is not reached. The Vision Industrial Complex can be defined as a network of nonprofit, for-profit, medical, governmental, and quasi-governmental organizations that collectively benefit from perpetuating the vision-centered limitations falsely believed to be inherent to blind, low vision, and deafblind people. The roots of the complex are in the medical aspects of blindness. Preserving remaining vision is success, while living with blindness is the last resort at best. The industry has been built on the negative, a loss. The vision-centered industrial complex celebrates the maximization of usable vision while claiming as extraordinary those achievements of individuals who experience total sightlessness. Yes, even centering use of the word blind is rejected throughout much of the vision industrial complex. Let me pause for just a moment to make a point that cannot be overemphasized. When I speak of the vision industrial complex and the deep systemic problems it perpetuates, I am not commenting on all of the people that are working within that system. To be sure, there are many committed and thoughtful individuals working to dismantle and rebuild it into something meaningful to blind people. The most successful of these individuals stay rooted in the National Blind People's Movement and find in it not only strength and determination, but supportive, authentic guidance and insight. These are all elements needed to reform the complex from the inside. But despite the best efforts of these individuals, the industrial complex is built to self-perpetuate, which makes meaningful change difficult at best. As leaders in the National Federation of the Blind, we must continue to support the journey of growth and understanding of our true allies and encourage their dismantling of outdated approaches from within the complex. We also have an obligation to our community to hold these same individuals accountable by raising their expectations and challenging their misconceptions. Our true allies will welcome the insight and accountability. In contrast, those who believe more in the vision industrial complex and its ideology will react to our lived experience as an insult to them personally. Returning to the vision industrial complex, its roots go back many centuries in society. History tells us that beginning sometime in the late Middle Ages, society began making provisions for the care and protection of the blind in almshouses and other sheltered institutions. Benefits often only available to privileged blind individuals from the upper classes. These protections were based upon misconceptions about the perceived limitations that vision loss brings to the individual. Misunderstandings, generally classified into three categories of pity, sin, and myth. One important effort in documenting these roots and centering the lived experience of blind people is the Critical Concerns and Blindness series established by the Professional Development Research Institute on Blindness at Louisiana Tech University. Published in 2001, the first book in the series, We Know Who We Are, A History of the Blind in Challenging Educational and Socially Constructed Policies, was authored by Dr. Ronald Ferguson. The book provides a detailed scholarly account of the connection between the classical attitudes about blind people, the establishment of care and protection efforts, and their modern-day vision industrial complex, which had a significant footprint by 1940, when our blind people's movement was founded. Dr. Jacobus Tenbrook was the founding president of the National Federation of the Blind. He was a brilliant scholar of the United States Constitution and a thoughtful, elected representative of the lived experience found within the blind people's movement. It was not at all inevitable that the movement would succeed in altering the harmful buildup of the complex. At that time, the vision industrial complex was epitomized by the American Foundation for the Blind. To understand why, we must examine the time before our founding. In Ferguson's book, we get a detailed account from historical records of the professionalization within the vision industrial complex. He tells us of the clash beginning in the 1800s between the American Association of Instructors of the Blind, AAIB, and the American Association of Workers for the Blind, AAWB. The AAIB was the earlier exclusive domain of the non-blind superintendents of the blind residential schools. On the other hand, the AAWB, established more than 40 years later, began as an organization comprised of blind graduates of schools for the blind, seeking to speak for themselves, as reflected in their original name, American Blind People's Higher Education and General Improvement Association. The AAWB was clearly resented by the AAIB in the early part of the last century. One example is found in the writing of Richard French, who was an administrator at the California School for the Blind at the same time that Dr. Tenbrook was a student there. Mr. French noted that AAWB, quote, was at first confined its membership to the blind and declared war, covert and overt, on the American Association of Instructors of the Blind, then purely institutional organization, end quote. If you're like me, that description from a non-blind leader in the field sounds like a distant echo of comments made today about the blind people's movement. In 1905, AAWB opened its membership to anyone interested in work with the blind. The inclusion of non-blind members did not immediately change the character of AAWB, but by 1921, the balances of power had changed. The pivot point was at the 1921 meeting of the AAWB, where leaders of the AAIB engineered the presentation and passage of a proposal to set in motion the establishment of a central national organization to represent agencies and their interests in the blindness field. This resulted in the creation of the American Foundation for the Blind, which stood as the designated representative for all issues impacting people with vision loss until the blind organized on a nationwide basis in 1940. It is also worth noting that the AAIB and the AAWB eventually merged in 1984 to become what is still today the Association for the Education and Rehabilitation of the Blind and Visually Impaired, AER. Knowing that the vision industrial complex silenced earlier efforts by the blind, Dr. Tenbrook and our early leaders worked tirelessly to set a philosophical and policy direction for the movement that could resist selling out to the vision industrial complex. Let's try that again. Dr. Tenbrook and our early leaders I'm just going to start over. Dr. Tenbrook and our early leaders worked tirelessly to set a philosophical and policy direction for the movement that could resist selling out to the limitations inherent in the existing system of control. It is little known that the American Foundation for the Blind courted Dr. Tenbrook to leave his university work and become part of the complex. As early as 1944, Robert Irwin, AFB's executive director, was corresponding with Dr. Tenbrook about potential employment at the foundation. On September 17, 1945, Dr. Tenbrook ultimately turned down employment with the foundation. In doing so, he provided substantive recommendations to the foundation and stated an important truth by saying, quote, "I cannot emphasize too strongly my feeling that the foundation has failed to do an adequate job of liaison and public relations with the blind of the country, and the necessity for federal legislative work cannot be overstated." The foundation has immense potentialities for good, but their realization will be frustrated unless the institution can gain and retain the confidence of the blind generally, end quote. Imagine what might have happened if Dr. Tenbrook had become an employee at the foundation. Would the buildup of the vision industrial complex have been altered? Would the need to propose federal legislation to protect the right of the blind to organize have been unnecessary? Would a group of petulant blind people not have left the organized blind movement, creating a protective front for the entrenched vision industrial complex? We cannot know what would have happened, but we do know that because the foundation failed to win the support of the blind people's movement continued to rise, and this time would not be crushed by the buildup of professionalism in the field. Dr. Tenbrook stuck with blind people, and our movement grew. He spoke truth to the problems with the vision industrial complex, and he articulated for the blind of this nation the deep importance of self-determination by the blind. He even sparked the building of blind people's movements in other countries, beginning to forge the worldwide connections between blind people that fuel our global movement today. With this inspiration, our movement began advancing progressive policy ideals that were rooted in the blind lived experience and which, in turn, threatened the core values of the established institutions. This was fortified in the second generation of the blind people's movement, as characterized by the determined chant led by our second dynamic president, Kenneth Jernigan. We know who we are, and we will never go back. This was a chant not only repeated in ballrooms of blind people, but out on the streets outside of the boardrooms of non-blind agency leaders. For this generation of our movement, dismantling the harmful impacts of the vision industrial complex took true courage and sacrifice as the agencies found creative ways to personally attack leaders of the movement. Tonight, those of us active in this fourth generation of our movement must recognize that courage is still required as the dismantling is not yet complete. The American Foundation for the Blind is no longer the national leader in the vision industrial complex, and it struggles to find a place of relevancy in the field. Other entities of the complex are attempting to fill that perceived void, again centering the institutions, not the people. In contrast, throughout the rest of society, significant emphasis is on centering the people. People of color lead with their own voices and their authentically chosen representatives. Individuals identifying as LGBT are leading their transformation in society and not waiting for someone else to speak for them. Yet the vision industrial complex continues to claim a place of privilege in representing the voice of the blind. Furthermore, the complex hides behind the ideal of advancing consensus-driven progress in the field by marginalizing the significance of viewpoints offered by leaders elected by the blind themselves. Consider a recent interview conducted by Jonathan Mosen, a blind advocate, technology reviewer, and podcast personality. Jonathan is known for conducting strong interviews with clear and straightforward questions. I've been interviewed by him, and I found it much like a meeting of Federation members who expect answers about what is happening in their organization. In episode 216 of his podcast, Jonathan interviewed Mark Reichert, president-elect of AER. You will recall from our resolution 2018-02 that we denounced AER's attempt to revive the outdated accreditation system first established by the American Foundation for the Blind in 1967. We again emphasized the position we have held for more than 50 years. Quote, "We do not oppose proper accreditation properly done. We will be happy to participate in and cooperate with any appropriately organized and democratically constituted accreditation activity. And if the time should come that a genuine accreditation system is created along democratic lines and blind people have more than token representation in the governance of the accreditation system and throughout the accreditation process, the National Federation of the Blind pledges its willingness to work with AER and other organizations truly to make services for the blind more relevant and responsive to the needs of blind people than ever before," end quote. Now branded as the AER Accreditation Council, ARAC, it is operated according to a policy and procedure manual. This document is quite telling, as it credits the National Federation of the Blind exclusively as the reason that the previous accreditation system failed to gain widespread support. Yet it gives no indication of what ARAC has done to address the concerns of the blind people's movement. Should we give them a gold star for transparency? The manual does state that three of the 12 council members should represent consumer organizations, but it also states the weak commitment that, quote, "every effort will be made to identify individuals to serve on the council who are blind," end quote. Is it possible that consumer representatives need not be blind if ARAC cannot, in their own judgment, qualify any suitable blind candidates? In his interview, Jonathan raises the concern of authentic blind representation in accreditation. He asks,
coming back to those first principles, if you've got a majority of people on a body that accredits organizations who provide services for blind people, and those people are sighted, then they are essentially gaining second-hand knowledge of blindness in some way. by observing us, by studying us. They don't live blindness every day. They don't understand intrinsically the struggles that we face. They can empathize, but they don't live it. So surely it's absolutely essential that the majority of those people on that body be people who are qualified and capable and have the credentials, but who live the life of blindness every day. Isn't that just a core principle?
This is a reasonable question to ask a forward-looking, incoming elected leader of the association that claims representation of professionals in the vision industrial complex. Mr. Reichert, a blind person himself, responds.
Again, it's not an inevitable conclusion that someone who is blind or visually impaired is going to have a better perspective on the needs, capabilities, rights, et cetera, of blind and visually impaired people. It's just not. And let me tell you something, our community in the United States has reflected that.
This answer is not in the past. It represents the future at AER, and it speaks for itself. If we are centering blind people, we must interpret the comment, quote, "Our community in the United States has reflected that," as, quote, "Our vision industrial complex in the United States has reflected that." I agree with Mr. Reichert that the legacy of the complex has reflected the exclusion of the blind-centered experience. The reality is that AER also is struggling for a place of relevance in 2023. And comments like this demonstrate why. The wisdom comes in naming it. I believe the modern day expression is putting lipstick on a pig. It is long overdue for professionals in the vision industrial complex to stop marginalizing leaders elected by the blind to represent the blind. Does it matter that we are blind people? Let's try that again. Does it matter that we are blind people? Does it matter that we speak and act for ourselves? Does it matter that we want to be represented by blind leaders we elect ourselves? Of course it does. This is 2023, not 1823. Furthermore, do we trust the elected representatives of the vision industrial complex to know who we are and how we live the lives we want? No. Trust has not been built with our community based on the historical record, and trust will not be built if the vision industrial complex continues to perpetuate outdated viewpoints like blind perspectives don't matter. The vision industrial complex generates over $1 billion in public financial support on an annual basis, and yet it constantly claims it does not have enough financial resource. Many of those same agencies also get exclusive contracts from the federal government under the Ability One program, and yet they have resisted policy efforts to require minimum wage payments and integration into competitive work settings. Dozens Dozens of research projects are perpetuated yearly to study all of the things that are broken about blind people, why employing us is so difficult, and to explain how hard it is to teach us. Yet, when we present opportunities to demonstrate the capacity of blind people and to invest in what works, where are those same researchers? The really good news is that while the Vision Industrial Complex is still here, the National Federation of the Blind continues to grow and influence determination and solidarity. During the third generation of the organized blind movement, represented by the leadership of our longest-serving president, Mark Maurer, an increasing number of individuals within the Vision Industrial Complex recognize the importance of centering the organized blind movement. For decades now, many professionals have chosen to collaborate with us and have sought to learn from our lived experience, even at the risk of being marginalized by the leaders of the complex. We have witnessed the growth of training programs centered on the experience of blind people and a growing number of skilled professionals who are blind coming into the field. We have sparked innovations, such as programs to inspire education of the blind in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And we now find an increasing number of allies using the research and resources generated by the organized blind movement as tools for dismantling the outdated vision-centered approaches. Consider Dr. Natalie Shaheen, Assistant Professor of Blind Education at Illinois State University. She is a blind person whose work is rooted in the shared experience of the movement. To professionals seeking to educate the blind in STEM, she gives this as a first principle, quote, "Embrace non-visual ways of knowing. Acknowledge that non-visual ways of knowing are equivalent to visual ways of knowing, and actively reject the notion that the ways blind people learn and develop knowledge are objectively inferior to normative sighted methods," end quote. To those blind people who took science, do you feel such an understanding would have enhanced the ability of your instructors to meaningfully engage you in the subject? Yet, the president-elect of AER says it's not an inevitable conclusion that our experience matters. To AER, we say, our 20 years of blind-led STEM programs demonstrate that despite the Vision Industrial Complex, with certainty, our lived experience makes all the difference. In collaboration with outstanding professionals in Maryland and the blind-centered programs at the Louisiana Tech University, we have invested in training upcoming teachers of blind students while grounding them in the blind people's movement. These future professionals are not threatened by the blind. They are secured by the insight of the blind. Some of these highly qualified individuals cannot get hired by the same school districts that begged us to help them find blindness professionals. Where is the Vision Industrial Complex in advocating in these school districts? For that matter, where are the leaders of the complex when blind teachers of blind students are denied jobs because a driver's license is required? The complex is silent. Might it have anything to do with jeopardizing their funding streams? Fortunately for these emerging educators, they are part of a blind people's movement which will continue to have their back. Our progress is not only limited to the programs that we build for ourselves. Some of the traditional entities in the Vision Industrial Complex are making an active choice to center the blind. This does not mean they always get it right, but they are building trust through genuine collaboration rather than through a top-down medical provider-to-patient mentality. A primary example is the American Printing House for the Blind, where the leadership has committed to centering the experience of their blind consumers. This is to the credit of Dr. Craig Metter and the leadership team he has built there since 2016. The leadership at APH has actively welcomed us into guiding their work and genuinely appreciates our honest feedback rather than taking it as an attack on their character. They recognize that trust is built through active engagement over time. We recognize that sustained change is rarely fast and never easy. Consider the fact that the American Printing House for the Blind was founded in 1858 and began receiving federal government backing in 1879. In October 2022, they held their 154th annual meeting of trustees. And thanks to the courage of the leaders at APH, this was the first time a currently serving elected leader of the National Federation of the Blind ever appeared as a partner on their program. May the courageous dismantling of the complex continue. There are many thousands of other reasons to be optimistic about the continued rise of the blind people's movement and the dismantling of the complex. They are found in the hearts and minds of the thousands of people gathered together at this moment, as well as those blind people we are elected to represent. While we only raise 2% of what the Vision Industrial Complex generates in a year, we make up for it in authenticity, creativity, determination, heart, and action. The single greatest factor that has made the difference in our progress is the determination of blind individuals committed to working together to make a better future for all. The heritage of our movement goes back to a small group of less than 20 blind people in 1940. It extends forward to a future legacy where all blind people can live the lives they want as valued and respected members of society, free from the barriers, misconceptions, and problematic structures that were entrenched before we could mobilize. While we imagine that future, we are not there yet. The work continues, and it requires the contributions of each of us. Blind people, representing all diverse characteristics and backgrounds, committed to working together for our common future, a future that is defined by our hopes and dreams, not the charity of the Vision Industrial Complex, a future built by us and our non-blind allies who know in their hearts as well as their minds that the value of their contributions are in service to advancing our cause rather than causing our advancement. Tonight, we do not declare war on the Vision Industrial Complex. We declare we are at peace with who we are, holding centered on blind people. We call on leaders in the Vision Industrial Complex to demonstrate their courage by declaring their intention to center blind people through real, sustained action rather than patronizing promises. Action that is demonstrated through active partnership with the organized blind movement. One way to bring that declaration to life is by pledging progress toward the aspiration called for in our Resolution 2020-05. Those agencies within the Vision Industrial Complex that cannot commit to actively working toward blind leadership at an equitable level should ask themselves why they exist and if their accumulated assets would better serve the community in a place centered on the blind themselves. Our declaration has been clear and consistent since 1940, and our aspiration for our future is equally clear. We are prepared to welcome all who champion our cause, even if they are still growing in their own understanding. However, to those who minimize our lived experience, we will go to the future without you if we must, and we will continue to resist being silenced as we have in the past. The future is ours, and we, the blind, intend to define that future and achieve all of our dreams. My Federation family, we are a movement not yet sustained for 1 century, but a movement that has positively changed the harmful pattern of misunderstandings that have been largely uninterrupted for multiple centuries. Just as our arrival at this moment was not an inevitable conclusion, neither is our future. To ensure that blind people continue to be centered. We must have the courage, determination, and creativity to continue to march together. While there is a minority opinion that blind perspectives do not matter, we know who we are and we will never go back. Inherent in our blind people's movement is the willingness to grow, evolve, and lead in the society around us. The movement shapes the people, but the people also shape the movement. A blind people's movement that makes the difference to us and makes our society better for everyone. This is the commitment we make to each other. This is the love, hope, and determination felt in our movement. This is the bond of faith that fuels our hope for our tomorrows. Let us go together to find the blind who have not yet shared our strength. Let us show that we belong in the world and make it better for everyone. Let no foe ever divide us. Let's go build the National Federation of the Blind.
Thank you, President Riccobono. I could not be more proud than to serve with you. Whether you are preparing to throw out the first pitch tomorrow evening or leading us with authenticity, love, and courage, we always have your back. Let's hear it again for President Riccobono and that outstanding banquet. Now, in celebration of our outstanding speech, we have some awesome door prizes. Anyone interested in a door prize? No, I would say Norma Crosby, I just want to share that she has a very large cowboy hat up here that she tells me has a lot of money in it. Now, that is not this door prize yet. Just giving you a little warning of what's to come later. But our current prize, if this individual is here, for $200 from the great state of Texas, Amelia Pellicciati. Amelia, one of our LCB grads. Amelia, are you here? I think that's a yes. Do we have her? Is that a yes? Roll. Can you hear? All right, do we have Amelia? Okay, all right, and a second door prize. Wow, Texas is on a roll here tonight. Now, this individual, also from the great state of Texas, for $200. I know this individual is a proud new papa who we welcome. We talked about, I had a chance to meet one of our newest members of our Federation family, Olivia, and if Trey Shaw is here, Trey will be receiving $200. Okay, if I could have your attention, please. It is my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. We always look forward to hearing remarks this year. Though he is not able to join us in person, we are so delighted to welcome Dr. Ray Kurzweil. Dr. Kurzweil is one of the world's leading inventors, thinkers, and futurists, with a 30-year track record of accurate predictions. He was the principal inventor of the first CCD flatbed scanner, OmniFont optical character recognition print-to-speech reading machine for the blind, text-to-speech synthesizer, music synthesizer capable of recreating the grand piano and other orchestral instruments, and commercially marketed large vocabulary speech recognition software. Dr. Kurzweil received a Grammy Award for outstanding achievements in music technology. He is the recipient of the National Medal of Technology, was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, holds 21 honorary doctorates, and honors from 3 U.S. presidents. Dr. Kurzweil has written 5 national best-selling books, including the 2005, The Singularity is Near, and from 2012, How to Create a Mind, both New York Times bestsellers. And Danielle, Chronicles of a Superheroine, winner of multiple young adult fiction awards. He is a principal researcher and AI visionary at Google, looking at the long-term implications of technology and society. For many years, Dr. Kurzweil has generously supported our scholarship program and has helped support hundreds of blind scholars who are serving as leaders in our organization and throughout our country. He has also contributed a $200,000 pledge for our museum. I would now like to introduce for his remarks Dr. Ray Kurzweil.
Well, it's great to be with you. That was a beautiful, inspired speech by Dr. Riccobono. I'm sorry that I can't be with you physically this year. I have a temporary problem with my right foot, and I should be able to travel in a couple of months. So I will be physically with you next year, which will actually be my 50th National Federation of the Blind convention. I think that sets a record, except maybe for Jim Gashel, who was head of the Washington office when I started working with the National Federation of the Blind in 1974, and also Michael Hinkson, who I will come back to. I generally stay with my friends and organizations that I'm committed to for a long time. I guess that's because I picked them carefully. And the organization that I am most committed to is the National Federation of the Blind. But aside from my 49-year relationship with the National Federation of the Blind, I've also been married to the same woman, Sonia, for 48 years. And I've been involved with the artificial intelligence field for 60 years. Speaking of artificial intelligence, I'll say a little bit about it since AI has been in the news very much lately and is affecting everybody. I appear to be the only person who's been involved with artificial intelligence for 60 years. I can remember 60 years ago at age 15, I met two of the founders of the field, Marvin Minsky and Frank Rosenblatt. In a book I wrote in 1999 called The Age of Spiritual Machines, I predicted that a computer would pass the Turing test by 2029, or 30 years from then. The Turing test measures whether or not a computer can do everything in language that a person can do. Stanford University was so alarmed by my statement that they called an international conference to assess my prediction. AI experts from around the world came, and they agreed with me that a computer would match human performance eventually, but they concluded it would not happen in 30 years. The consensus was that it would take 100 years. Over the last 24 years, I've stayed with my prediction of 2029. And as AI has improved at an exponential rate, the consensus among AI experts has come down from 100 years now to 2029. So people are now saying that I was right. And if you're familiar with large language models, which have just appeared like this year, you can talk to them by voice or text about almost anything, and they'll give you a human-like response. Literally, you can discuss any topic from the weather to obscure problems in philosophy or physics or any other field. The responses seem in many ways better than humans, but there's still a few ways where they're not quite as good as humans. But still, many experts think AI will pass the Turing test even before 2029, like next year or the year after. Let me also share with you some reflections on my almost 50 years with the National Federation of the Blind. President Riccobono spoke eloquently about Dr. Jacobus Tenbrook, a brilliant scholar who was the founder and first president of the National Federation of the Blind. Started my relationship with the National Federation of the Blind in 1974, so I never had the chance to meet him. But I've heard many stories about his brilliance and the remarkable organization he created. I did get to meet President Kenneth Jernigan in 1974, and he lived until 1998, so I got to know him quite well for a quarter of a century. He was the most profound person I've met. He was the leader of the blind, but also people with disabilities, and he was a person who was as effective at changing society as Martin Luther King. I'm very thankful that I was able to get to know such a person. The National Federation of the Blind has grown enormously in both numbers and effectiveness in changing the vision industrial complex and the world at large. I've also seen the enormous effectiveness of growing the National Federation of the Blind through the inspired leadership of both Dr. Maurer and President Riccobono. In 1974, again 49 years ago, I had algorithms and methods that could be turned into the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind. However, I did not know how to make this machine useful to people who would use it, and in 1974 did not know that much about blindness. So I contacted most of the blindness organizations about my reading machine. They were all very encouraging and wished me well, but that was about it. That was until I got to the National Federation of the Blind. I called Jim Gashel, who headed up the Washington office and was their head of governmental relations, answered the phone. His answer was quite different than the other calls I had had. He was not only enthusiastic, he invited me over right away. We met, had a long talk about my reading machine project, and he said that if Dr. Jernigan was also enthusiastic, they would quickly get behind it. So very quickly, I met with Dr. Jernigan, and I immediately sensed what an articulate master of language he was, and the power with which he led the National Federation of the Blind. He talked about how some other organizations see blindness as if nothing had changed from the outdated view of blindness from centuries ago. Dr. Jernigan told me that they would get behind my project if we could engage some blind engineers and technicians to work on it. I said, sure, that sounds terrific. And I've used this approach since with all my projects involving the people who will benefit from the invention in developing it. So for example, in my music project, all the engineers were musicians. Michael Hinkson was available to help me with the reading machine, organized 8 people who were blind, who could assist on the project. They got involved with every aspect of it. And the reading machine proved to be very useful for reading in every type of situation. I remember it's just one of their contributions was a function key. The idea is you'd press the function key, followed by a sequence of commands, and it would then explain exactly what the commands would do in a synthetic English voice. I think that actually would be very useful with today's computers, which have very obscure controls with no function key to help you. So that was my start with the National Federation of the Blind. We then began a long-term collaboration to modernize and bring down the price of the reading machine. The first reading machine cost $20,000. So it was useful for libraries where it could serve multiple people. It has gone through several iterations with the National Federation of the Blind to its current form, which is an app on smartphone and costs nothing. It's been a 49-year project with the National Federation of the Blind, and it has been my best project. And I'm looking forward to the next 49 years of continuing to work together. Speaking of actually doing that, let me tell you about longevity escape velocity, which is a concept that I explore in my books. Right now, as you live through a year, you use up a year of your longevity. However, science is also progressing, and today you get back about 3 to 4 months from breakthroughs in scientific progress. So you really only lose about 8 or 9 months of longevity in a year. However, scientific progress is on an exponential curve. It's speeding up every year. So for example, the Moderna vaccine for COVID was actually created by a computer in 2 days, using simulated biology where the computer interpreted what would and wouldn't help. Biomedical simulations aren't going to be limited to viruses like COVID. They're taking over medicine in general. As a result, by 2029, 6 years from now, when you live through a year, you'll use up a year of your longevity, but you'll get back an entire year from scientific progress. Past 2029, you'll actually get back more than a year for every year you live, so you'll be going backwards in time as far as your health is concerned. So we will then be able to go way past today's average lifespan. So working together with the National Federation of the Blind for another 49 years or 100 years will be feasible. And I'm very much looking forward to continuing my long-standing relationship, which should go on for centuries, with the National Federation of the Blind, with great devotion and enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your remarks and for your dedication and for your generosity. We are truly grateful. Let's hear it again for Dr. Ray Kurzweil. We hope you can hear us cheering loudly. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
How about another door prize? We're going to have a door prize for our virtual attendees. We're so happy that you're here with us. And our code word for this prize for $75 is Florida, in honor of 2024. Who's going to be in Florida next year? So for our virtual winners, we have Kathy McGillivray from Minnesota, Sherry Rollins from New Jersey, and Lori Porter from Wisconsin. Also, we were not able to find our last winner, so I'm going to draw again for 200, and that will go to Jerry McGinty from New Jersey. Jerry McGinty, if you are here, stand up and yell and wave. And we also have another $200 door prize if this person is here from Missouri for Kara McBurney. Thank you again. This is a big room, and Elizabeth is very busy locating everybody, so we appreciate Elizabeth's awesome work. And if I could have your attention, please, it's now my honor to present our next award this evening. Dr. Jacobus Tenbrook was one of the most influential minds in the field of civil rights. He was a staunch advocate, respected attorney, and legal scholar whose legacy continues more than 5 decades after his death. His writings and teachings on equality were pivotal to the landmark case Brown versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court decision that desegregated schools in America. He founded the National Federation of the Blind in 1940 and served as our first president. His work in the blindness field shattered stereotypes and revolutionized how the blind live in the world. As a testament to the immense and lasting impact his contributions have on society, we hold an annual disability law symposium which carries his name. The National Federation of the Blind awards this prestigious honor only when an individual meets its rigorous criteria, and 2023 is one such year. As an organization, it is the highest honor we bestow. The recipient must embody the characteristics that are synonymous with Jacobus Tenbrook: unwavering commitment to civil rights, a heart for service, and contributions that result in transformative change for the blind. This year's recipient was born in a small community west of the Atlantic Ocean and south of the North Pole. This person learned early the importance of reading and writing Braille. After being diagnosed with a degenerative eye condition and enrolling in the local public school, this person was expected to read print, which they could not, and therefore did not read or write well for many years. When the individual was 13, their parents enrolled them in the state school for the blind, hoping they would receive a better education. After several years of struggling with reading and writing print, a doctor told this person what they perceived as bad news, that the individual would need to learn Braille. Though learning Braille was a game changer and a relief and opened up a world of opportunities for them to achieve academic success. This person learned early that educating young blind people would be a lifelong passion. In high school, our winner learned to wrestle, a skill that would later earn them extra money in the early days of teaching. While taking a college speech class, this individual met a local school teacher, and they struck up a friendship that would prove valuable for many reasons in the years to come. When our winner was ready to do a teaching internship, the advisor advised them to pursue an internship at the State School for the Blind. However, this year's recipient wanted to teach sighted children, which the advisor stated would be impossible. However, in the course of their friendship, the school teacher, who this individual met earlier in the speech class, told them that they wanted them to do the internship in their third grade classroom. The principal at the school agreed with and supported the plan. You can only imagine how surprised and perplexed the advisor was when his low expectations were proven to be that, low expectations. Our award recipient has cleared his first discrimination hurdle and began to change, again, so many what it means to be blind. Our recipient this evening is began to know the power of advocacy. He knew about how important strong skills of blindness were and an unwavering confidence in combating discrimination. In 1982, this individual was invited by the leadership of the state affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind to speak about his experiences at their state convention. This invitation, along with his attendance at the National Federation of the Blind's national convention the following year, changed his life. And like so many of us can relate from our own experiences, when asked about that convention, the individual said, "I realized that I was not alone in facing challenges and discrimination, and that I had the Federation family behind me. I also learned that the progress I had been able to make and that other blind people were making was due to the work that the National Federation of the Blind had been doing since its inception in 1940. This individual, our 2023 Jacobus Tenbrook Award winner, Adelmo Vigil, had found a home in the National Federation of the Blind with like-minded blind friends. Throughout the years, Adelmo has held various leadership positions in the National Federation of the Blind of New Mexico, including serving as president for more than a decade, along with several other offices, and currently serves since 2016 on the National Federation of the Blind Board of Directors. In 1993, Adelmo began his second career with the New Mexico Commission for the Blind as the director of the New Mexico Commission for the Blind's Orientation and Adjustment to Blindness Center. In this capacity, Adelmo served as a mentor and encouraged many of the young students who came to the center to learn the foundational skills of blindness, to build a positive philosophy of blindness necessary to be successful in whatever career they chose. Eventually, Adelmo became the deputy director of the New Mexico Commission for the Blind. Many young people throughout the years, many in this room, have benefited, and listening virtually, have benefited greatly from Adelmo's firm admonitions and gentle and loving encouragement. He is a professional who has successfully built strong friendships with blind people that have made the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of tremendous fulfillment. Through his speeches at state conventions and national presentations and through his writings, he has shared the message of the National Federation of the Blind and helped others realize they can dream big and live the lives they want. In his current role as president of the National Blindness Professionals Certification Board, he works tirelessly to promote professional development and training opportunities for individuals and agencies to offer structured discovery training, which truly empowers blind individuals. Since 1975, Adelmo has been married to his beloved wife, Soledad, who contributes in so many ways to our organization. And they have 2 children, Adrian and Gabriel, and 6 grandchildren so far. Adelmo says of his involvement in the National Federation of the Blind over the past 40-plus years, "When I think about why I'm in the National Federation of the Blind, my greatest reason is that I want to give back what has been given to me. Because I have been blessed, I want to share that blessing. I want to pay for what I have been given by giving encouragement and hope to future generations of blind people. I am honored and grateful to call Adelmo a cherished friend and to work side by side with him in our movement. Please join me in recognizing our 2023 Jacobus Tenbrook Award recipient, Adelmo Vigil." Now, I want to, John will have a moment to speak, and I want to mention today is also Dr. Jacobus Tenbrook's birthday. So extra special that you're receiving this on July 6th. Adelmo is receiving a beautiful plaque, which is, has Braille and print on it. I'm going to hold it up, and I'm going to present it to you, Adelmo. Here you go. And I will read what is on it. Presented to Adelmo Vigil for your dedication, sacrifice, and commitment on behalf of the blind of this nation. Your contribution is measured not in steps, but in miles. Not by individual experiences, but by your impact on the lives of the blind of the nation. Whenever we have asked, you have answered. We call you our colleague with respect. We call you our friend with love. July 6, 2023. Adelmo.
Well, I don't know what to say. I am shocked, I am surprised, I am honored to receive this prestigious award. There are many out there who are worthy, but I am very thankful to you, all of you, because your successes have been my successes. I just told President Riccobono just a minute ago, I said, I am going to retire sooner or later. And I've been threatening to do that for a while, but I haven't done it yet, you know? But it is an honor to receive this award, and I thank all of you, my Federation family, for this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, thank you.
Picture?
Where's the award? Hold the award up. Hold it up.
Photo op. Congratulations again, Adelmo. Let's have a round of applause for, you can tell Adelmo's humility and gratitude. Thank you so much for your service, Adelmo, and all the ways that you have contributed. I want to also thank the members of our Tenbrook Committee, Dr. Maurer, Norma Crosby, Ron Brown, and Barbara Lose. Thank you so much for serving. Now, as we prepare for our next presentation, I want to a door prize for $200, and it's for Janet Parmiter from Georgia. If you're Janet, are you here? Seems awfully quiet. I don't think Janet is here. Going once, Janet Parmiter from Georgia. Okay, how about Marita Jackson from Georgia? Marita Jackson. Anyone out there? All right, just checking. All right, one last call. Okay, we do not find Marita. How about Barbara Parks from Alabama? Okay, all right, we've got it, thank you. I would like to introduce for a special presentation our Executive Director for Advocacy and Policy, John G. Perret.
All right, our next award recipient, presented to us earlier today. He grew up in California. He went to Loyola Marymount University. He first thought he would be a priest and went and took his physical, which is needed to become a priest. And when he took his physical, he found out that he had epilepsy, which means that he failed his medical test, would not be able to become a priest. He decided to then go into politics. I'm not sure that's the traditional alternative career progression, but that's what he decided to do. He worked for a congressman in California, Congressman Sist, and he did very well. He started as a very junior staffer and worked his way up very quickly to a senior staffer, to a staff director. He was instrumental in producing some of the rules that are associated with C-SPAN, and was doing terrific in Washington. And eventually the congressman decided not to run, so this gentleman ran for his seat, and on January 3rd, 1981, Congressman Tony Coelho was sworn into Congress. He continued to do very well. He quickly became the chair of the DCCC, which is a position of great honor, and worked his way up to the majority whip, the number 3 Democrat in the House of Representatives. He then started to realize, partly from way back with his discrimination he had encountered with epilepsy, that a real civil rights bill for the blind, or a civil rights bill for all people with disabilities was needed. And he actually introduced the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1988. He decided to leave Congress in 1989, the next year, but not until he found another champion for people with disabilities in Steny Hoyer from Maryland. He recruited Steny to take over the bill. Really, they worked as a team. In fact, I've talked to Steny Hoyer, and he's always attributed really all of the ADA to Tony Coelho. The bill did pass in 1990, and as many of you probably know, was signed into law on July 26, 1990. In 1994, it was attributed that 800,000 people with disabilities, new people were employed because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, Tony kept working, Congressman Coelho kept working, and when the courts started to chip away at the ADA, he sprung back into action and helped instrument the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Amendments Act, which was signed into law on September 25th, 2008. But he still kept going. So when we started working on the website bill, Tony reached out to us and said that, as you heard earlier today, that the lack of access to the websites and applications he considered to be just as egregious and just as important as the original ADA work that he had done 20 years earlier. So he joined us, and joined us in a big way, because he has influence, power, knowledge, and has done this really twice before with the original ADA, the ADA Amendments Act. He started attending our weekly phone calls, calling members of Congress, educating them, calling other disability groups to join our effort, and not just with this bill, but also with the website regulations work at the Department of Justice. He contacted the Assistant Attorney General. He's contacted people at the White House. He has put all he's got into working to improve website accessibility for all people with disabilities, especially blind people. So, as a result of that work, well, I do want to mention one other thing. He realizes how important the bipartisan nature of this is. And so he contacted Speaker Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, as I mentioned earlier today, and they published an article, and I want to repeat the key quote from that article, as I think it shows you how much he and Newt Gingrich believe in what we're doing. He said, this is a quote, "It's about time that companies realized that digital accessibility is a key brand imperative and took ownership for the role that websites and software play in the employee and customer experience. People with disabilities should have universal access to technology even as innovations occur, end quote. It's because of that that we are now presenting Tony the Distinguished Accessibility Champion Award. It says, and I'll hold up the plaque in a minute, it says, presented to the Honorable Tony, the Honorable Tony Coelho, I guess I need a little water, for your skill, perseverance, and drive to ensure the passage of the Americans with Disability Act, and for your tenacity, wisdom, and passion to make the world more accessible for all people with disabilities, and for your commitment, experience, and leadership in assuring the access of websites and applications to the blind, presented on July 6, 2023 in Houston, Texas. And I'm going to hold up the award. And Tony, we know you're on Zoom.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much for your comments. I am really sorry I can't be with all of you tonight. I had planned to, but my health concerns decided was not appropriate, so I'm not there. But I want you to know that I feel very strongly about access to the internet for the blind and other disabilities. As I indicated earlier today, I think it's a moral issue. I think it's critically important that we make sure that every American has the right to access to the internet. And so I've been working hard to try to make that happen along with John and other members of the blind community. I've been working with the Chief of Staff at the White House and other members to try to make that happen. I think we're making great progress, and I appreciate all the work that the Federation and others have played to make this possible. My passion and my ministry is to make a difference in the life of those of us with disabilities. And in this case, in particular, those of you who are blind. I love you all for your work, your enthusiasm. And Mark, I want you to know that I happen to totally agree that those of us with disabilities have the right and have the ability to run organizations. I made sure that that was the case with the Epilepsy Foundation. It only took 30 years for that, a whole effort that I started back then, to get it to a situation today where the chair of our facility is a person with epilepsy. There's always been an attempt by others who feel that they know better about our disability than we do, and that's wrong. And I agree totally with you, Mark, on making that happen. So again, I want to say thank you. It means a lot to me that you honor me with this award. So I hope to see all of you at one of your conventions at a later date. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you so much. And I want to draw another door prize. We were not able to locate our last winner. Again, if you are the winner, please cheer. We want to make sure we get you. So our door prize is for $200 for Christopher Crawley from Arizona. I know we got a lot of Arizonans, so Christopher, stand up and cheer. Do we have Christopher? Okay. And another door prize for $250 from Nebraska, Linda Mentink. Linda Mentink. All right. Okay. That's a way to do it. All right, congratulations. Now, I would like to introduce now for special remarks our beloved mentor and friend, Mary Ellen Jernigan.
Precisely 30 years, 10 months, and 5 days ago, I met the individual we are honoring tonight with the Kenneth Jernigan Award. The occasion was a meeting in the 4th floor conference room of the NFB headquarters. It was an invitation-only meeting. The invitations were to individuals, not to the organizations they were associated with. Only 2 organizations were permitted to issue the invitations. This person was not invited by the Federation. The meeting was the 2nd U.S.-Canada Technology Conference for the Blind, held in November of 1993. And the Canadian National Institute for the Blind had issued an invitation to the head of a relatively small and fairly new Canadian company. Neither the company nor its founder was well known. This company, no longer relatively small, no longer relatively new. And as for being not very well known, well, it is today known and respected by blind people the world over. I am, of course, talking about Gilles Pepin. And the merged entity of Visuade and Pulse Data that became the Humanware Group. From that first meeting with Gilles, he has been a partner and a colleague in our efforts to give blind people access to information. For those of you who were born around that time, the time of the conference, it may be difficult for you even to imagine the discouragement felt by the blind community at the headwaters of the ever-increasing pace of visual-based electronic information. Though convenient and visually pleasant for sighted people, information was presented in ways inconvenient and inaccessible to blind consumers. The shift from text to the new graphical user interface seemed an impossible barrier to overcome. Nevertheless, giving up was not an option. Not for blind people, not for Gilles. When personal data assistants like BlackBerry and Palm appeared, Humanware introduced Maestro and refreshable Braille note takers. When GPS guidance systems replaced maps, Humanware responded with Trekker. When print calendars and standalone calculators were incorporated into electronic devices for the sighted, Humanware incorporated them into its accessible devices for the blind. In short, as the methods used in the broader society to gain access and use information have undergone revolutionary changes in recent decades, Gilles and Humanware have been at the heart of that revolution as it has affected blind individuals. In the 1950s and 60s, the National Library Service created talking books to be read straight through from beginning to end on a bulky 20-pound record player. By the 70s, the 7-pound cassette machine had replaced the record player. But reading was still done from beginning to end, and one still hoped, often in vain, not to find a missing or broken tape toward the end. Today's less than 2-pound digital talking book machine was created by NLS, for NLS, by Humanware. Books could now be read with navigation features of the kind available to sighted readers of print books. Perhaps it does not surprise you that Humanware's design of the navigation features for the NLS digital talking book player came about with significant participation from the National Federation of the Blind. At about this same time, Humanware was working in a more formal partnership with the Federation to develop its own Victor Reader stream. Here again, the Federation contributed to the design of the user interface, with much of the usability testing taking place at the Jernigan Institute. At this point, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Ray Kurzweil's key, though silent, role in the success of the company Gilles Pepin has led. From the time Dr. Kurzweil, who invented the first machine that gave blind people access to electronic information, he never failed to involve blind people in the development and testing of the user interface. Furthermore, Dr. Kurzweil always insisted that those involved be representatives of the organized blind movement who bring vast knowledge and recommendations coming from the lived experience of blind individuals. Learning this essential element for success from Dr. Kurzweil, Gilles Pepin has always done the same. I recently asked a question to a member of the Federation, a person I believe to be one of the most competent users of virtually every known piece of access technology on the planet. My question was, what is so special about the Victor Reader stream? His answer was thoughtful, simple, and non-technical. It's the buttons, he said. They are big. They are tactile. They always do the same thing. No matter the source of the material, no matter how it is marked up, no matter where you are in the material, the buttons always do the same thing. To me, this answer speaks volumes, because in the end, it's not about the genius of the technology itself, but about the blind people who use it. Like our friend and colleague, Dr. Kurzweil, Gilles Pepin has truly become one of us. The Kenneth Jernigan Award has been given sparingly, only 3 times since its establishment. The common thread running through the accomplishments of those who have received it is that their work has been done in solid and ongoing relationship with the National Federation of the Blind. So tonight, come on up, Gilles. I'm handing him the award plaque. So tonight, it is my honor to present the Kenneth Jernigan Award to Gilles Pepin.
Thank you so much. That's great.
The inscription on the plaque reads as follows: National Federation of the Blind, Kenneth Jernigan Award, for your dedication to the highest ideals, for your imaginative leadership in expanding opportunities by designing technologies in partnership with the blind. We, the organized blind movement, confer upon Gilles Pepin the Kenneth Jernigan Award. Your hand assisted in every challenge. Your heart responded to every need. You are a trusted colleague and a valued friend.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That's great. So, Jonathan, they want a picture. Thank you very much. First of all, I should say, okay, now our secret is out. You know, the secret of our success is working with NFB and you guys. That's been our success for 35 years. And what I'd like to say, you know, this is a big surprise to me. Nobody had told me that this was happening tonight. But I'm extremely honored. I mean, 35 years working, and I still remember 1993 with Dr. Jernigan organizing this technology conference. And it's been such a great, I'd say, career for me, working with blind people. Developing technology is my passion, but developing technology for people that are using it to develop their full potential is just great. And it's been a great career. Thank you very much for everything. Just want to say something else. I mean, President Riccobono has been talking about partnerships, and obviously partnerships with NFB year after year, product after product, has been the key to our success. And I just want to mention, you know, we've talked about it, our latest product, this Monarch that we're developing. It's a great undertaking. It's a big undertaking for HumanWare, but APH has been extremely grateful. We're very grateful to APH for, you know, supporting us and working with us, and obviously with NFB, telling us, you know, it's not always pleasant to hear what we're doing bad, but it's always pleasant to know how we can improve, and that's what NFB has been doing for us. So thank you very much again. That's a great honor. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations so much. As a HumanWare product user
Felicidades,
myself,
felicidades. Yo también soy una usuaria
very,
de
very
productos de
grateful. Thank you
HumanWare.
and congratulations.
Y gracias y
Now,
felicidades.
how many
Wow,
people in our here are
¿cuántos de aquí?
former scholarship, national scholarship winners? I love. So I know everyone is very excited about our next presentation. It is now my pleasure to introduce for the presentation of our 2023 scholarship class, our
Tenemos la clase.
scholarship committee chair, Kate Mendez.
Good evening, everybody.
Oh dear, I guess I'm gonna have to, there we go. Let's try that again. Good evening, everyone. Okay. Okay. Just for the record, we all know where the New York affiliate is sitting now. Okay. So, this is the best part of my convention. I hope that it's the best part of yours. President Riccobono, that was a wonderful address tonight. Congratulations to everyone who received their awards this evening. And now it's my privilege to give a whole bunch more. I know this is, for so many of us, the culmination of our convention experience. It's always so exciting to see all of our scholarship finalists up here on the stage and to hear their credentials read out one more time and to know that they're being honored with our various awards. I really hope that you all are ready to enjoy this the way I'm going to enjoy doing it. So every year, the Scholarship Committee has the Herculean task of selecting finalists from all across the nation who exemplify academic leadership, community involvement, scholarship. There's a Venn diagram of things that we look for. We look for a class that's representative of a lot of different fields. We look for a class that's representative of a lot of different geographical points, affiliates. We look for students who are all across all different academic ranges of experience, from those just entering their college careers to those who are maybe on their second or third degree. So I'm really excited tonight to introduce this year's finalists to you, and I'm going to call them onto the stage, and I'm going to do so in the following manner. Disclaimer here, this Braille list of the scholarship finalists has been surfing around in my bag since Saturday. Now, if any of you has ever read week-old purse Braille, you know what I'm dealing with up here. So let's see how good the chair's purse Braille decoding skills are as I introduce the finalists to you. I'm going to introduce them as follows. They are going to be first name, last name, home state, school state, and vocational goal. In this class, we also have 2 Tenbrook Fellows. Okay. Tenbrooks are folks who have previously won a National Federation of the Blind scholarship. So it's our privilege to have 2 of them up here again tonight to receive their second award. Y'all ready? Only that one table of students on my left is ready. Let's try that again. Are you ready? Okay, now we're in business. Here we go. Mi gente. Okay, here we go. Michaela Biddle, New Mexico, teacher of blind students. And, all right, Teresa Mendez-Booz, Oklahoma, international health advocate. Felicia Bradford, Michigan, social work technician. Noah Carver, Maine, New York. Sorry, Maine, we're stealing him. Vocalist. Sarah Folsom, Georgia, biology. Mitchell Ford, Virginia, attorney. Jack Freeberg, South Dakota, Indiana, capital compound specialist. Justin Harford, Oregon, accountant. Ellen Harper, Michigan, Washington, D.C., attorney. Dan Lavinka, Colorado, social work. Rashunda Holt, Kansas, business management. Tyler Hoppy, Maryland, Pennsylvania, law. Marco, here we go, guys. Marco Hurtado, Texas. There they are. Software Development. Joanne Kim, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. Environmental Protection. Take a deep breath. Trisha Kulkarni, Ohio, California. Educational Technology. Zachary Ledford, Utah, Utah. Sports Medicine. Maura Loberg, Nebraska, Nebraska. I think the entire population of Nebraska is here. Counselor. Nina Marenka, New York, New York. Clinical Psychology. Zach McLean, Washington, Oregon. Sports and Leadership Management. Ryan Mentor, Maine, Ohio, Law. Ernest Emmanuel Peoples, Illinois, Illinois, actor. All right, take another deep breath. Eric Rivera Gonzalez, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Law. Ashley Rogers, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Actuary. Avery Celine, North Carolina, North Carolina, Neuroscience. Okay, here we go. Athena, sorry, I was turning the page. Athena Scopelight, California, Arkansas, psychologist. Amar Tarin, Arizona, Arizona, attorney. Tatiana Tolliver Hughes, West Virginia, Missouri, law. Kamran Vora, Texas, Texas, medical doctor and bioethics attorney. And last but not least, Kamile Whitby, Virginia, Massachusetts, autonomous vehicle design. All right. And so you all know, as each finalist mounted the stage this evening, they had a little bit of a receiving line to get through. They got to shake hands with President Rick Abono and Dr. Mark Maurer. They also received a goodie bag containing their plaque, which is in print and braille, provided by the Kurzweil Foundation and Dr. Kurzweil. So they've all got a goodie bag up here next to their feet, and folks behind me, feel free to put it down. You don't have to stand there and hold it. Okay. So I suppose you're all tired and you don't want to hear who got which scholarship, right? We're done? Oh, I'm not convinced. Let's try that again. Did you want to hear who got which scholarship? Okay, now I might be convinced. All right, here we go. Okay. So we're going to start out this evening with our National Federation of the Blind scholarships. These ones are funded by our membership. And just as a heads up to everyone, at this point in the presentation, I'm going to encourage you to hold your applause until the end, because this first batch, there's a couple of folks receiving this scholarship, but after that, they're more sort of groups of ones and twos and threes. So if we applaud for all of them, we're going to be here all night. Here we go. So the National Federation of the Blind scholarships are going to Michaela Biddle, New Mexico, New Mexico. All right. You guys got to come to my second grade class and learn about following directions. Here we go. Cat. Felicia Bradford, Michigan, Michigan. Sarah Folsom, Georgia, Georgia. Jack Freeberg, South Dakota, Indiana. Roshunda Holt, Kansas, Kansas. Marco Hurtado, Texas, Texas. Maura Loberg, Nebraska, Nebraska. And Zach McLean, Washington, Oregon. So those are our NFB funded scholarship finalists. Now, the next scholarship we're going to share with you is our Charles and Betty Allen Scholarship. And before I get into this one, we all got a chance to hear the video that was put together earlier, thanking all of the many, many donors and contributors that make this program possible. If perchance you were busy trying to find where the butter was on your table at that point, you may have not heard all of it. Please take a moment when you have time this summer to go check it out on YouTube, share it on your social media platforms. It's really important that the folks who contribute to this program and help fund it know how much we appreciate them. Also, when you do go view it, you will hear that many of the narrations, the voiceovers of that video were done by members of this scholarship class. Some were done by members of previous scholarship classes, and some were done by famous voices of the Federation, like Gary Wonder. But really enjoy that video. It has a lot of information about this scholarships that I don't have time to share on the microphone tonight. So please take time and go check it out. It will be linked from our scholarships page as well. So now we've got our Charles and Betty Allen Scholarship, which again, folks, please hold your applause till the end, is going to Ryan Mentor, Maine, Ohio. We have 2 EU and Jean Parker scholarships this year. They are going to Justin Harford, Oregon, and Ashley Rogers, Pennsylvania. We have 3, count them, 3, Charles and Melva T. Owen Memorial Scholarships. Those are going to Noah Carver, Maine, New York, Teresa Mendez Booz, Oklahoma, and Martinine, Arizona. All right, we have 2, Edith R., lots of alphabets here, Edith R. and Alvin J. Domro Foundation Scholarships. They are going to Dan Lavinka, Colorado, and Athena Scoplight, California, Arkansas. Our Jesse and Hertha Adams Charitable Trust Scholarship goes to Tyler Hoppy, Maryland, Pennsylvania. The Jeanette C. Airley Scholarship goes to Ernest Emmanuel Peoples, Illinois. I gotta breathe. I'm just running them down here, okay. The Jacqueline Billy Memorial Scholarship goes to Nina Marenka, New York. New Yorkers don't follow directions. The Mimi and Marvin Sandler Award goes to Joanne Kim, Pennsylvania. Our Pearson Award, which is funded by Pearson Education, is going to Eric Rivera Gonzalez, Puerto Rico. All right, our Jaws for Windows Scholarship is going to Tatiana Tolliver Hughes, West Virginia, Missouri. Okay, now we've got our NFB STEM Scholarship, and this one is jointly funded by our Computer Science and Science and Engineering divisions. Thank you to the members of those divisions. That one is going to, got an extra canine, thank you there. That one is going to Cameron Vora, Texas. Texans follow directions. Thanks, Texas. All right. So, here we go. Now we have 2 scholarships funded by Oracle, but they are for different things. Our Oracle Scholarship for Excellence in Computer Science goes to Camille Whitby, Virginia, Massachusetts. And our Oracle Scholarship for Excellence in a STEM field goes to Avery Celine, North Carolina. Now, I'm going to circle around to some scholarships that are very deeply meaningful to the scholarship committee because they honor 2 long-serving members of that committee. In addition to, these folks were Federation leaders in so many other ways. The first of these scholarships is our Adrian Ash Memorial Scholarship. If you were able to hear the video earlier, you would know that Adrian was a consummate scholar. She was a professor. She was a writer. I encourage you to go look up some of the things that she wrote. She made many presentations from this stage. She was a longtime member of the Federation and the Scholarship Committee. And the scholarship in her honor goes to Mitchell Ford, Virginia. And now, I don't know if any of you were in the board meeting the other day. Who was in the board meeting? But you know that this year the Federation funded a scholarship in honor of our dearly missed Scott C. LaBar. Now, if you've been anywhere in the Federation over the last few months, and especially this last week, you've heard story after story after story about Scott. And I have to add a quick one here before we give this award. When I didn't know Scott well, so many of you served with him for decades in so many different capacities, were mentored by him. I didn't know him very well. I only met him within the last 10 years or so. But the thing, I met him through the scholarship committee, and when I was asked to chair the committee, I knew I was going to be working with this giant of the Federation, with this huge personality, and I was deeply grateful to have the honor, but I was also nervous that one of my jobs was going to involve occasionally requesting that Scott be quiet. And I was a little worried about having to do that. Scott served for decades on the scholarship committee, as I said, and he served under many, under all of the chairs, I believe. And he could have treated me like a noob, and he didn't. He was nothing but professional, courteous, and encouraging from day one, respectful of the process, respectful of me on my learning journey to becoming the scholarship chair. And every time I would pass him in the hallway at the National Center or the hallway here at convention, he would say in that way of his, and I just can't duplicate it, but I'll try, "Kate," you know how he would just volume at you. "Kate," he would say, "You're doing great, Kate, doing a good job." I can't do it justice, but you know how he said things like that. And there were days when he would say that to me that I knew I hadn't done great. I'd forgotten something, I'd gotten flustered and grumped at somebody, which is a thing that happens more often than I like to admit. I'd made a mistake, but Scott, in his wonderful way, would always say, "You're doing great." And it would give me that shot in the arm that I needed to continue to do what I needed to do. Scott was a giant in our organization, a giant personality, and a giant as he mentored so many of us, and as he worked in the legal field to advance our cause. And tonight, it's my tremendous privilege on behalf of myself, the scholarship committee, the board of directors, the entire NFB family, to say to you, Ellen Harper, you're doing great. So Ellen, her state affiliate presidents will be mad if I don't say it, is Michigan, Washington, D.C. All right. So now we have 2 more scholarships. And both of these were funded by the American Action Fund for Blind Children and Adults. They are longtime close partners of the Federation and seek to advance the cause of blind people. The first of these awards is the American Action Fund for Blind Children and Adults Award, and this one goes to Zachary Ledford, Utah. And of course, if you've been paying attention, at all, you know that the last award we give every banquet night is our Kenneth Jernigan Memorial Scholarship. This award needs very little introduction because it has been a long time staple of this scholarship presentation. We give it in honor of Kenneth Jernigan, who was a longtime president of this organization, who worked tirelessly to advance our cause in the world and to raise expectations for blind people across the nation. Each year, the committee seeks to honor one scholarship finalist with this award and along with it the opportunity to address the convention. And when we look at who should receive this award, we're looking for people whose scholarship, whose leadership, whose involvement exemplifies the legacy left by Dr. Kenneth Jernigan. And I hope that the person whose name I haven't said yet is making their way toward the podium. This year, I'm very proud to present the Kenneth Jernigan Memorial Scholarship to Tricia Kulkarni, Ohio, California. Hey. You good? I hope you learned something.
Oh my God. My Federation family, thank you.
You got this, girl.
From as long as I can remember, when my sisters and I were growing up, my parents wanted to give us the world. The only requirement that they gave for us is to put our heart and our mind into everything that we did. I didn't understand why at first. We were happy, our family was complete. But my parents knew what the world was like, that there was discrimination, and that there were challenges that we could not prepare for. And so they gave us the world. They had us compete with the boys' team for sports events. They gave us every resource that we needed to be successful. The only requirement was put your mind and your heart into everything that you do. But then their youngest child in middle school went blind. And suddenly they were navigating a world that they didn't understand. But they still wanted to give me the world. And so they fought for me to have an aide in class that would walk around with me and read me my textbooks. They would stay up with me at night and have my sisters help me read my textbooks and finish my assignments. They were prepared to give me the world, but it was a world that they didn't understand. And so I needed another family. In 2018, I found that family. I was called by a mentor of mine to inform me that I was receiving a National Federation of the Blind scholarship. And at that time, I didn't know what that meant. But I came, I got on a flight, and I went to Orlando, Florida, and I was overwhelmed by not only the resources, the mentors, a national community of students that I found in this organization, but the love that filled every corner of it. And so the National Federation of the Blind gave me the world when they allowed me to serve our student community and when they gave me my Freedom Bell from the Louisiana Center for the Blind. But again, when you're given the world, you have to put your heart and your mind into everything that you do. And so tonight, to my Federation family, I promise you that I will continue to put my heart and mind into everything that we do in this organization. And together with both of my family back home and my family here in this room, we will go make our dreams a reality. Thank you so much, everyone.
Congrats again, you did great.
picture? Oh, we gotta get the award photo. We gotta get a photo. Kate, get in here.
Oh, I gotta get in too?
We gotta take a photo.
Hold on, let me not put
Where's
dots
the
in.
award? Do we have an award?
Photo up. Thank you. All right. Folks, let's hear it one more time for the NFB Scholarship Class of 2023.
Let's hear it again for our 2023 scholarship class. Congratulations. Thank you, Kate, for your service, and thanks to our scholarship committee. And we do have, again, remember Norma is really has this big cowboy hat up here with lots of money in it. She's very eager to give it away, but it's not quite time yet for that. I want to give away for our virtual listeners. Again, let's give a cheer for everyone who's listening online so they can hear us. Sending out much love to all of you, and our code word for this $100 prize is NFB23. So our winners virtually are Sheila Fulmore from Michigan, Scott DeVert from New York, and Malia Jensen from Maryland. Okay, so now we have a special presentation. It is my honor to introduce for his comments our longest serving president, Dr. Mark Maurer.
Thank you, Pam. Dr. Kenneth Jernigan, who first became president of the National Federation of the Blind in 1968, attended his last convention 25 years ago. He preceded me in the presidency. I was elected first to the office of president in 1986. After the convention had adjourned a few weeks, Dr. Jernigan handed me a gavel, and he said, "It's your job." He said, "You are accustomed to having me do this. Be sure that I'm not going to do it in the future." And if you think about the activities of the last week or so, you can tell that it's not a simple job. Mark Riccobono became president 9 years ago. In planning, executing, and conducting this convention, he has done a superb job. He has grown in the presidency, and he has become the leader that all of us want. I wanted to step to this podium tonight to say that. I know Dr. Jernigan would believe it, and I believe it. I am proud of our president, Mark Riccobono.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maurer. Let's have a cheer for our president to show him that we... Now we've just got a couple more things before we have one more door prize before the grand prize. We're not quite ready, but we're getting close. So our $400 prize winner is Eldon Basketfield from Oklahoma. Is Eldon here? Seems very quiet. Going once? Eldon? All right. How about Tina Soul from Arizona? Do we have Tina? Is Tina here? That was a yes. Okay. All right. So we are almost to the close of our convention, of our banquet this evening. As she is making her way up here for our grand prize, and I want to take a special moment to recognize Norma Crosby. And the affiliate, the National Federation of the Blind of Texas. I want to also take a moment to recognize our staff of our National Center who is taking care of all of our logistics. And it's taking Norma a moment. She has this hat is so full of cash that anybody is interested. So our prize this year, our grand prize, is $2,023 in cash and a hat. So anybody interested in that? I know. Okay, and so our winner, I'll be right now. We do have another thing before we conclude after this grand prize, so stay tuned. But our grand prize name, everybody ready? All right, it's Glenda Austin from Washington, D.C. I don't think, if my guess is not here. Okay, not here? Anybody still out there? Okay, now we're going to Washington State. Olga Zielinska. Washington State? Nope, seems awfully quiet. All right, all right. How about Philip Outland from South Carolina? Yeah. Okay. Again, the name is Philip Outland from South Carolina. Philip Outland from South Carolina. Are you here? Okay. How about Ty Tomasi from Massachusetts? Do we have Ty Tomasi? That's a no. Okay. How about anyone still out there? Norma she's really eager to give away this hat. Okay, Janesti Steele from Mississippi. Okay, how about Sean Morrison from North Carolina? Sean Morrison? Is that a yes? Is that a yes? Do we have? Can you tell? I'm sorry, Sean. Yeah. Sean Morrison, do we? Yes. Okay, we have Sean. Congratulations. All right. All right, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being an outstanding runner. Elizabeth is going to take this off Norma's hand. Now, to conclude our banquet, it is my honor and pleasure to present, I will hand the gavel over to you, President Riccobono, for your closing remarks for our 2023 convention. I know we can't wait to be back together next year, and I'm going to turn it over to President Riccobono for our closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Pam. I appreciate it. And if you could bear with me all just for a couple of minutes. First of all, I want to thank our Master of Ceremonies, Pam Allen. And one thing we did not do yet at this convention that I'd like to do real quickly, if you're in the room and you're a member of the Dream Maker Circle, I'd ask you to stand and say aye. Aye. Okay, now that all these people are standing, let's give them a round of applause. Our Dream Maker Circle is individuals that make a commitment to leave a gift to the Federation at the end of their life. That gift can take many forms. Those end-of-life gifts are very significant and make a big difference, and it's a great way to leave a legacy in this organization. I also wanted to say, if I could just have your attention for one more minute. I think all the noise is where the hat's going over there. If I could have your attention, please. Pam mentioned Ray Kurzweil's $200,000 gift. Actually, Ray had given us $100,000, so $100,000 of that was a new announcement this evening. So although we announced early in the convention that we were at $2.79 million, we now are at least $3.89 million. So very close to $4 million, which is a great thing. I appreciate Dr. Mauer's remarks. It is a true honor to be in service to this organization. And as I have expressed a number of times throughout this convention, nothing could be done without the entirety of the group we have here, our friends, our supporters, and the tremendous members that make up this organization who show up to get the job done. So I thank you for the honor and for the challenge, because it's only because you expect a lot that I'm able to give a lot. So the thank you goes to each and every one of you. I think we have had a truly tremendous and outstanding convention. And I want to echo my sentiments also to our Texas host affiliate. What a great host you've been. In honor of that, I'd like to offer Norma one more opportunity to throw out the first pitch tomorrow. She still declines, but I think we have one more piece of business to do, because I could say a lot about this tremendous room of people and the people listening virtually. But let's, before we adjourn, and adjourn our meeting until we meet again in Orlando. Let's have one more big Federation cheer. The 2023 convention of the National Federation of the Blind is now adjourned.